Awesome. So, guys, yeah, my pleasure to introduce you to Victoria Vaughan. She's the co-founder of ICL in Cryptoland agency. And from my side, I mean, Victoria has been in the space for over 10 years. So she's like on the ground with all the crypto and Web3 expertise, what's about marketing and PR. And she also served as a CEO of Cointelegraph till 2019, bringing the company to the top levels. And pretty much right now, she's with the ICL agency, setting new standards within the Web3 PR and marketing. And we're lucky to have her today, to dive a bit deeper into the insights on the Web3 PR strategy. When we talk about startups, different insights on how to talk to the journalists, how to approach PR correctly. So yeah, Victoria, thanks for joining, and I guess over to you.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for joining today. Would love to see your faces as well. So if you would be willing also to turn on the video, would be great. Thank you. Hi, Martin, Pierre. Nice to see you guys.
Hi.
Yeah, so as far as I understand, you're all a part of InnMind community. And before I start, would like to hear quickly what stage you are at, and in terms of marketing and PR, what are your goals? I assume you are now probably before fundraising or during fundraising. So please, maybe let's quickly share. Raise your hand if someone wants to share their goals and stages. Let's quickly find out what are your pains, probably.
Okay, I can start. So practically, okay, we have two products. So one is smart credit, the other is ChainAware. Let's speak of ChainAware. So it's an AI product. So product is there. We have like three very good categories of this product. And okay, now the challenge is to get more users, to get paid clients, like paid businesses. This is the challenge. And to get as well.
The product is live, right?
Actually, three products. All three are live. So we have three products that are live. Like one is the fraud detection, one is like a marketing solution, and one is a credit scoring solution. Like we have a rug pull solution, and this is all like AI stuff. So we are applying AI on the blockchain data, and this is amazing way to calculate. And as you are a marketing person, let me add as well, if you give me your address, I will tell you what you will do also next. So we have this solution as well. So practically we just calculate the intentions. And now we want to bring this product out to the people. So the products are there, but now we have to get people to use them. So that's where we are.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wants to share their goals and some info about the product? Okay, then I'll address a little bit to the Martin's question. In the AI space, it's a challenging space now. On the one hand, everyone is talking about it and it's a big hype around, right? But at the same time, the number of AI tools and products coming out every day is insane, and it can be quite tough to compete, especially if we think of direct marketing to the end customer. So for any tool and product like this, I think it's always good to think how you can grow through partnerships and ways how you can acquire the user base of your partners in bulk. Because like every time like you go after consumers directly, you have to have like pretty big marketing funds to do like Google ads or event sponsorships, newsletter sponsorships, and so on. So in this case, I think it would be good to think of potential partners for whom you can bring some value, but also like on board they existing community in bulk. So something like that. And this is actually one of the things how PR can help. PR itself is not a direct user acquisition tool, but long term, it helps growing your brand awareness, trust to your brand, and in general, I assume like all of you are here founders, and it's very important nowadays to have a strong personal brand as well. When you have a developed personal brand, it becomes much easier to close the fundraise, close partnerships. And even when you see like you would be sending connect requests on LinkedIn or drop like a cold email, the probability that you will get a response when you have a strong profile on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and when you have some media coverage is much higher compared like when no one knows about you and there is zero information on the web. So let's talk today about that, how to achieve those goals. And when you're like a first-time founder or when you did not do any PR before, how to start, where to go, and what to do. So let me share my screen. I prepared a presentation for you. Can you see my screen now? Yeah?
Yeah, all great to go.
Okay, cool. So as already was mentioned, I'm mostly in Web3 and blockchain space for many years. I was the CEO of Cointelegraph, which is one of the biggest media in the space. And 3 years ago with my co-founder Alice, we started PR and marketing agency. We now work with several verticals. And we actually also pivoted into general tech and AI space as well. And last year we started working with some general tech startups as well. And those companies around AI, by the way, was pretty successful. We have secured publications on New York Times, Wall Street Journal, BuzzFeed News, Forbes, and so on. But feel free to connect with me on Instagram. I've been a speaker at all major events, and ISL in general is partnered with many accelerators, VCs, marketing partners, different vendors. So overall, we will be able to advise not only on PR, but overall marketing strategies as well. So now, when we think about like current time, let's think what is the most like expensive currency at the moment and what is everyone competing for right now if we don't take Bitcoin. Anyone has any ideas?
The attention.
Absolutely right. So, and when we think of any marketing and PR strategies, every product, every person tries to catch the attention. And the PR, one of the big verticals for PR is media coverage. And when we want to get the media coverage, and in general, when we want to get anything from anyone, you should always think about the motivation your counterparty has. So when we think like that, we want to get the coverage from the media company, what is their motivation to write about you? And what is the business model of the media companies? The business model of the media companies is coming from advertisers, and the more attention, the more traffic the media platform has, the more business they have and the more money they're making. So all media platforms are under daily consistent pressure to be able to generate more and more attention, more and more traffic. And this attention comes with the content they produce. So understanding how to generate content which drives attention is the key part to be able to successfully create content that will be featured on the media platform. And overall, if you are following news, I assume you have all noticed how many negative strong content is there. So basically, two emotions usually drive all the attention, which are anger or happiness. So when you try to think how to create content, you should always brainstorm on how to relate to those emotions. And you should not talk just about your product, you should talk about your customer, about your target audience, and about problems they have, and how exactly you can solve those problems. So what is PR overall and when it's needed? It's a long-term communication tool which allows you basically to build a connection between your product and your audience. As I mentioned before, it helps to increase brand awareness, trust, attract partners and investors, to develop HR brand. And communication strategy overall includes these four verticals, which are paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media. Paid media are all kinds of paid placements, such as press releases, sponsor stories, banners, newsletters, advertising campaigns. Earned media is organic coverage, when you were able to convince journalists and media to cover something about yourself or about your company. Shared media is all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And own media is your own blog where you post the content you produce. So PR overall is a really long-term play that should be deeply integrated not only into overall marketing strategy, but also into your business development strategy, sales strategy, and product strategy. So to maximize the PR efforts, you should always share across all possible verticals the results of the PR campaigns. For example, when you got like every article, and also you can start mentioning it in business development outreach. For example, that the company was featured like in this reputable outlet, as I mentioned before. It can significantly increase the response rate for the cold outreach. So there are many founders who come to us and ask, oh, can you place us an article on Forbes? Can you give us an article here and there? And then they expect that one article on Forbes will, will do everything for them. Unfortunately, it does not work this way. Long-term PR requires consistent media presence, and I'm sure you have heard of like 7 touches. So your goal is to all the time appear in front of the attention of your audience and try to regularly produce content, produce media coverage, and in this case, you start creating brand image which people understand. When PR is needed, like when you play in a highly competitive space, for example, like you, Martin mentioned, now you have like AI tools and it's already a very competitive space now. All the financial kind of products where reputation is very important, when you need to attract investors, partners, and clients, and overall want to build strong personal brand. And a good PR strategy should include analysis of the like current space. It's good to understand what kind of messages competitors are putting there, how exactly they talk to the customers, which media they get featured on. So based on that, you can also have an understanding which, for example, media platforms are reputable in your space. You should understand the key messaging points around the product. And as I mentioned before, I think it's really crucial not just to try to sell your product all the time, but to understand how you can relate to your audience and how you can solve the problems they have. The better you are able to convince them that you can help them, the more likely they will start using your product. And when we talk about media coverage, there are different possible formats which exist there, which are press release, news. Press release is more like a paid placement. News is organic coverage when like something big happened with the company, interview, review, brand mention, quote, and thought leadership. So what I would like to talk a little bit about what is worth organic pitching and what is not worth organic pitching, because we see that startups not always understand what works and what not. Of course, for every founder, every new small product update is a big thing. But in the end, when we talk about organic coverage, usually things like big fundraising announcement, big partnership announcement, massive product growth, or for example, like a big initiative with the government, something like this usually get attention. That's when we talk about news format of coverage. But when it's more like a smaller product update, smaller partnership, token launch, or token listing, usually it's almost impossible to pitch these kind of things for organic coverage. And when you have this kind of updates, but still want to be it in the media, the best formats you can use is paid media and to place it through press releases or sponsored stories. Now let's start like from your bio and speaker profile. As I mentioned before, nowadays, I think every founder needs a strong personal brand, and to start building it out, you should create your speaker profile where you basically mention your work experience, your education, your area of expertise, what exactly you are doing, links to your social media, and also if you have any experience of speaking at the events before, you should for sure include that. And if you were mentioned before in the media or wrote any pieces for the media, you should also include it there. So when you are a startup and you do not have any coverage yet, but you have some strong opinions about the market you operate in, you should start from giving comments to the journalist, and it's also a great way to start being connected to the journalist. So for this, there are two good platforms which you can use, which are called Quoted and Haro. As far as I remember, both of them have free plans for the startups. Basically, it's a platform where journalists can request for the comments from the experts in the fields. So usually when the journalist is preparing a piece on like any particular topic, many media platforms have an editorial policy that it also should include some opinions from experts in the field. So before those platforms were created, journalists had to manually go and look for the expert, reach out to them on LinkedIn. And of course, it's extremely time consuming. And so now most of the journalists use those platforms. And when they are preparing an article, they can post their questions for the article. For example, they can say like, okay, we're preparing a piece about the NFT market. It looks like NFT are picking up now. What do you think about this? Why? And you can filter the topics you are interested to comment on, and basically on a daily basis you can just quickly check if there are any requests relevant for you, and through these platforms you can submit your answers. Usually journalists give the deadline of 2 or 3 days to provide the answers. But usually there are many different experts start answering there. So the faster you provide the answer, the better, and the probability that you will actually be mentioned in the article as an expert is higher. With the AI, we see also many founders now started generating answers using like ChatGPT and some other tools for content production. But unfortunately, usually what we see that content generated through such tools comes out very bland and without any deep expertise or strong opinion. But why journalists asking for opinion of the people? Because they really have like insights about the industry. So I would not use ChatGPT to generate those kind of answers. You can use it to like check your grammar, to edit content a little bit, but not overuse it. So usually you should prepare 3-4 paragraphs of text to prepare the answers, and then on the platform you can just submit it. And there you also see the name of the journalist and the media they are writing for. So a good strategy would be not just submit an answer, but also go to LinkedIn or to Twitter to find profile of this journalist and get connected with them, start liking and commenting their articles. So usually journalists do not have like such huge following, but then when you start step by step engaging with them, you will build relations and good network of journalists. And then later on, when you will need to actually pitch some news about the company, you will have much warmer contact. The probability that journalists remember someone who is regularly liking their posts before is much higher, like compared to when you just connect and try to pitch something straight away. So for the quick product updates, like I mentioned before, some new feature or token announcement, things like that. When you want it to be featured in Google, best way to go probably would be placing press release packages, and there are PR newswire services such as Cision, for example, where like for a price around $1,000, usually they have a press release distribution to all the platforms like Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, and so on. I think this like $1,000 package includes actually more than 300 outlets. So this kind of press releases, it's not something that end users read. I would say it is more just to build some of your search. So for example, you see, I gave an example when people would search your brand name, they would see this kind of news in press releases. So, and then you can also place the logos on your landing. I'm sure you have noticed that oftentimes on the websites, they do this featured on Bloomberg, Yahoo, Business Insider, everywhere. Usually it's like just press releases, but again, this kind of section on the website always increases trust as well. Build connections with relevant journalists. I already talked a little bit about it before when we were talking about tools like Quoted and Hara, but overall it's good for you to understand which media are the biggest media in your niche, which are the smaller ones, and usually you can go to every media platform and search for the articles which are somewhat relevant for your product, and usually you would find that from every media platform there would be couple journalists that cover specifically like the niche you are developing in, for example. So this would be journalists you need to build connection with, and even before you would need to pitch something, I would recommend start building connections with the journalists on the social media. As I mentioned before, just like, engage, comment on the article, so they start recognizing you and your brand. Here, of course, make sure that you also make your LinkedIn profile look clear and good. So please take some time to actually think how to position it the best way, because journalists also always pay attention to that. And I would say it's also a good leverage to have a bigger following on social media, because again, media and journalists will know that when they write an article about you, you will most likely share it from your platforms, and it would drive more attention and traffic to the media and to the journalists, which would be beneficial for them. Now, like, I think one of the easiest way for startups and especially for founders to get published on the media is the format that is called thought leadership. So before you have like something big to announce, you can actually start building presence in the media even before that, when you have some strong opinion about the market. And I'm sure, like, as you are all building products and trying to solve some important problems in this world, for sure you have some understanding of the problems people and the market have. So thought leadership should include spiky point of view, which should be true but also surprising and have some particular insights. So how you can come up with the topic? You already have the list of media which is covering news in your space, and usually, like most part of the media outlets have a special section on the websites, which is usually called opinion, or sometimes it can be called expert take. And when you find those sections on the website, oftentimes they would even publish editorial guidelines there. And on LinkedIn, you can also find an editor which is responsible for this section in the media. Usually they have a role like an opinion editor at media platform. So when we talk about thought leadership, here the authors are invited experts like you, and the opinion editor is the one who is coordinating all the publishing process, and the one who is making decision whether the piece will be published or not. So it's good to be connected with the editors of those sections of the media which are relevant to your product. And then you can just go to this section and basically see how the headlines look, which kind of topics they are now covering. And then usually you will be able to also find some relevant topic to your product. And then your task is to come up with a good angle on like what you are interested to talk about, and which you see there is interest of the audience there. So sometimes you would even see in these articles how many views and shares every piece have. So you will also be able to analyze, okay, like this particular topic is now popular. So for example, now in the blockchain cryptocurrency space, I just went and did screenshots from Cointelegraph and CoinDesk. You see, like on Cointelegraph, there are topics around ETF. It's now trendy. Also still now popular, these kind of formats, some predictions around 2024, how the market will behave, what will be happening, and this kind of topic. And this screenshot on the right is from CoinDesk. And then before starting writing the whole piece, you should create the title and the PR pitch for the editor. So when you have idea for this kind of format, this is an example of how your pitch should look like. So first, you have some controversial, spiky point of view, as I mentioned before. And then it is always good to include some information on the research and show like the factual proof that the problem exists, and there are a lot of people who are struggling with that. Then you have the part like the main points you want to talk about, and a short information about yourself. Who are you, like if you have some previous articles. And with this kind of pitch, you can reach out to the editor of the opinion section and see if he's interested in this kind of content. If not, you can also oftentimes ask what kind of topics they're interested in, and usually they are pretty happy to share that these kind of topics are trendy now, and then you can discuss, okay, what else can be relevant for you to write about. And then in thought leadership, it's important to know that you cannot directly shill or talk about your product. This kind of piece, the main goal is to demonstrate your own expertise as a founder. And I would say like this kind of content actually sells very, very well when you sell without sales. And then even, for example, when you reach out to investors, you can send this kind of piece, and again, it will increase the probability of the answer. Here is the list, like example list of the media platforms who take this kind of format. And well, also want to mention Entrepreneur and Forbes. So I'm sure you have all seen people quite often post like those articles on Forbes, but Forbes, like in 99% of cases, they just have a fee-based membership there. I think it costs around $3,000 per year. In Forbes, and you can just basically buy this membership and post article every month. And Entrepreneur has the same section. You can just buy membership there and post articles on Entrepreneur, and Entrepreneur even does not have any like sponsored disclaimers. Forbes, in Forbes at the start of the article, they say that it's a fee-based membership. On Entrepreneur, they just, as far as I remember, they call it leadership circle or something like that, but they do not obviously mention that this is a paid content. So pretty good opportunity. Then when you need to pitch to the journalists, let's talk about how to do that. When there is something you want to announce, and ideally it should be some interesting partnership that would solve actually interesting problem, not just some small product update. Again, when you want to do this kind of coverage, it's go to the media you are targeting and search for other news covering similar topics, and then you will have an understanding what kind of angles and headlines are now trendy in this niche. And then you can have a better understanding how to craft your own PR angle and how to combine what's happening on the news agenda together with your product and problem you are solving. Then you should create a list of targeted media and journalists based and analyze the headlines. Then you create the press release, and you have a targeted list of medias and journalists. So you should choose maybe 4 or 5 media from your top priority, and then one by one to every media platform you go and offer them to have an exclusive interview with you about this announcement. Then from every journalist, you wait for about 1-2 days. If they have not answered, you can send a follow-up, and also at the same time send an offer to do an exclusive coverage to the next journalist. Then if you did not have any responses like from the top priority with exclusive kind of coverage, then after that, in about a week before you actually want to do an announcement, you should send the press release to extended list of journalists, and to them you can send it to many people simultaneously. It will not be exclusive coverage, but like basically anyone who would want to cover it will post this news. And then you see who is answering, who is not. And usually at the time of embargo is when you should put it inside of the press release file, when it is important for you that they do not post the news before a certain date. And then when the embargo date is happening, you will see like if the publication was picked up. Usually they would answer to you before if they're interested or not. And then if you understand that no organic coverage happened, you can also coordinate some paid placements. Then there is important to understand that every day, like hundreds of news happening. And when you start constantly monitoring the news agenda, you will have a better understanding what kind of titles are popular, what kind of content is popular. And then when you start acquiring the network of journalists and editors over time, you will like most likely, if you have a person responsible for PR internally, or probably sometimes founders even do it themselves, it's like very possible to do internally and to get like pretty good coverage when you have a good understanding of what's happening and you have a deep expertise about the market. This is example of like how LinkedIn profile can look, for example, and that's what I was mentioning before, that it's important to utilize the results of some previous PR every way you can. So here, like my friend, for example, put the screenshots of the articles about him, right, like in this background of the LinkedIn profile. And like when you see this kind of profile, you see, oh, Bloomberg Business Insider, it already looks, oh, like he looks like a strong expert, right? So the probability again that partners, investors, other journalists would accept your request and will be willing to talk to you is higher. Here is the example of the landing page section where they mentioned that press talks about them. Yeah, and also wanted to mention that for the community of InnMind, we have special offers to help you pitch one-time announcements around fundraisers or maybe some big partnerships you have. Usually the majority of PR agencies, when they work with companies, they try to lock you up into several months contract. So for the InnMind community members, we are ready to do one-time help with the announcements. If you have a need for that, please book a call with us, or if you have some individual questions, we will be happy to talk and see how we can help. And in the form of booking the call, please make sure to mention that you were referred by InnMind, and then our team will know that you have some good options. So thank you so much. We'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Victoria, thank you so much. I mean, from my side, there was super insightful. I even took like lots of notes for InnMind ourselves. So yeah, guys, use this opportunity to ask your questions as well if you have anything. Yeah, go on. Come on, don't be
Was
shy.
everything clear or absolutely unclear?
Okay, everything is clear, but this sounds quite an effort. I mean, to do this stuff. So
Yes,
that's
that's why companies hire PR agencies and those like special PR representatives, PR executives who basically on like everyday basis see all the news, what's happening, comes up with the possible PR angles, possible coverage, and so on. So usually companies either have like internal PR person who is responsible for that or works with the PR agencies. Yeah.
understood. Oh, and then you mentioned these things that they are these PRs like you pay $1,000 and you make a PRs. You say they don't bring so much value.
They will not bring you any traffic or users, for example, because like think about yourself. Do you ever go and read anyone's
No,
press
no,
release, right?
no.
Yeah, so it's either like there is a probability that based on this press release distribution, the journalist will pick it up, but it's pretty small. It's usually always covered when you do this kind of individual pitching. I told you about, I would say it's more for like when you have, for example, zero about your company in the search, it's a good starting point. So at least when people Google your brand, they will see all those press releases and brands. And you saw in the screenshot I showed, there is Cointelegraph, Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg. At least people have this feeling like, okay, it's something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Victoria, for the explanation. On my side, we are quite early, very early. So all the marketing parts is something that we're going to think about in the coming weeks. So that's why I'm here today, start to learn a little bit about it because it's not my my core business and skills. So thank you for the explanation. I have your name, request a connection on LinkedIn, and maybe we'll talk later.
Yes, we'll be happy to. Yeah, so for with this things like thought leadership pieces, why they're good is that you can start with them even before your product is ready because it's not connected to any news triggers from the company side, but you are start building your media presence as the founder and to strengthen your personal brand. And then when you have this kind of coverage, it is also easier to get, for example, speaking slots at the key events. And if like your targets are to secure again investments and partnership, for example, when you attend event as a speaker, it is much easier compared to when you're just an attendee, right? And again, when conferences see like, okay, this person have good, strong opinions, has interesting ideas to talk about, and was already covered by some major outlets, the probability that they would approve you as to be a speaker at the event is much higher. So I would recommend to start doing these things even before you plan PR and marketing campaigns around your product.
Thank you, Victoria, so much for your time. Thank you, InnMind, for organizing this. I have booked a call with you on Friday just to get deeper. We are an exchange, a centralized exchange at this time, operating from Dubai and focusing on Asian market. And as an exchange, we are moving the strategy from a typical trading exchange to an exchange as a service to help on board of new projects. So we are always making the strategy not also for us, also to communicate for our projects. So working like a builder. So it will be great to explore with you what kind of a strategy and how we can make a proper planification of how to communicate and which channels are better, because as you know well, as you mentioned, there are a lot of conferences, there are a lot of slots, there are a lot of places, and you cannot be at all. So to identify which ones are the best and which one will fit with our purpose, as well as using the correct channel, because in social media there is so much noise, KOLs, influencers, and so on. There are also too much noise, too much money expended and without return. So I think that having this strategy and having this support, it will be great. So thank you so much.
Okay, great, Pablo. Thank you for sharing. Looking forward to talk to you on Friday then. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to book a call. I don't know, are you also planning to send an email newsletter with the recording, or what will be done further?
Yeah, I'll drop the guys a link to the recording after we finish the call. I have all your emails in the invitation, so I'll do that. And then yeah, from the recording, I'll guess you'll see like the same QR code to book a call. Or Victoria, if you don't mind, I'll just put the Calendly link that I have of yours.
Yeah, you can use that one.
Okay, awesome. Hi, Elia, good to see you at the end.
Hello, thank you. I hope to see recording because I was on the call.
Yeah, for sure. I'll share everything. The beginning was also very promising, so you should watch the whole thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and hope to help you all. I hope it was helpful and hope to work with you in the future as well.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, Victoria, so much. Yeah, take care.
Thank you, Victoria.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.